Coming from the farthest reaches of the universe to challenge the worst toy repairs on Earth is the most powerful hero ever, Toy Polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from Toy Polloi, and in today's video we're going to look at restoring this Kenner Superpowers Batmobile. Now this vehicle was very kindly sent to me by Kevin from Zarnister Studios. He said he'd been to a flea market and found two of them that were in exactly the same condition, and you can see that there are a couple of issues with this, and he thought it would be fun for me to have a go at fixing it up. And it's a toy that I've actually never seen here in the UK, so it really is going to be quite a sort of new project for me. I've never taken one of these apart, I've never worked on one, so everything I'm doing in this video is new. But what have we got to do? Well, you can see straight away that we're missing the windscreens. There should be two sort of orangey windscreens at the front and a rear one there. Those are both missing. And then there is a very common issue with this vehicle, which is this front battering ram. It's supposed to lock in place, and then you press a button inside and it pings forward. That has broken and it no longer locks in place. That seems to be probably the most common issue with this vehicle. So we're going to have to take it apart and see if we can fix that. It also is a little bit dirty. There's not a huge amount of dirt on it. There's a bit of dust and grime in all these sort of vents and sort of paneling on it. So before I do anything else, I will give it a quick clean. I'm just going to use a hot soapy water and some toothbrush and sort of brush it all over and get the sort of dirt and grime out. Once that's all done, we'll flip it over, undo all the screws on the bottom and take it apart and see why this bit is not locking in place. I'm sure it should be easy to fix. I'm guessing something is broken inside, but until we get it apart, we won't know. But yeah, before we do that, let's give it a quick clean. That feels better. Just a bit of a clean always helps, as I say with toys. I never like to leave them in the sort of dirty state, so just a clean like that freshens it up a whole load. So we can now get on and see if we can fix this sort of battering ram or front ram, whatever it's supposed to be called, and see if we can get that locked back in place. So we have to first off take it apart, and if I turn it over I can see there's a whole load of Phillips head screws in the bottom. It looks like there's two there. We've got one in the middle and then two at the back, so 7 screws in total. I'm just going to undo those and see what happens. I've never worked on this toy before, as I've said, so yeah, it's going to be a bit of a mystery. I can see there's something else down there which looks metallic. Not quite sure what that is, so we'll just have to see. So let's get undoing these screws and hopefully it will come apart. So by undoing those screws, the top section easily comes off and we can now access all of the pieces inside. So I've just taken that top away and you can see that the steering wheel is in there. It's just clipped in. I think I can probably unclip that. It's no real need to do that, but it's easy to unclip. Then we can get to the little headlights or the little lights. That's a very simple mechanism there. You just push that along and it raises the lights up. Doesn't look like that's held in particularly by anything, so we can take those pieces out. Then it looks like we have the seat is a separate section. It is, so we can lift that up, and now we can get underneath and see what the issue is. So this is the locking mechanism. Oh right, yeah, I can see what's happening. We're missing the whole end of that, so I'm guessing when you push that back, yeah, it should have a little piece on there that clips on to that little sort of hole in the middle and holds that back. So that piece is completely missing. So why is that missing? I guess, do you rotate that up like that? Yeah, I can see what's happened. I guess it's just is just a weak point, so we're going to have to work out some way to rebuild that section and make it a lot stronger. Not quite sure how I'll do that at the moment, but I'll have a think. I've just been studying how this mechanism actually works to see how I can go about fixing it. And basically what happens is you push back on this lever and it bends this little prong, which should have a clip on the end of it, up. If I push on that, you can see I can raise that up and down. It raises up by about 5 millimeters. So if I push this front section back in, that's where it should clip on like that. And then you push that button, you can raise it by about 5 millimeters. So I need to make a clip on the end of that is about sort of 5 millimeters tall. That should work, but it's got to be a very strong fixing. Luckily, the sort of bending point of this clip is sort of in the middle. It actually bends behind where you push it. So this whole section here doesn't actually bend. So I think we need to fix something to the entire length of that to make sure it is really glued in firmly. We're not going to be able to use plastic weld. This is the wrong sort of plastic, but I will make something out of styrene. I think I can make a very strong clip out of styrene, and then we'll attach it onto this whole thing using super glue. It's going to be a bit ugly possibly, but it's all inside, so it shouldn't really matter. So yeah, let's get constructing and I'll see what I can make. But it's basically a clip out of styrene stuck onto that. I think we should have something that works. Okay, so what have I made? So this is the original clip which we're missing the end piece of, and you can see there's a little ridge down the middle of it. So I've taken some 2mm styrene sheet, made a sort of flat piece, and then on either edge of that I've stuck some 1.5mm styrene sheet. So it's essentially the inverse of this shape here, and this now clips over the top of it really snugly, so when we come to glue it in place there's lots of surface area to glue onto. And that also means there's a nice thick amount of styrene that I can attach my little new hook to. So you can see this again is a 2mm thick piece of styrene sheet that I've shaped. I've added a slight curve to it because it needs that curve, because when you push the ram back in, that curve sort of forces this piece up and then it looks in place, so you need a little bit of a curve. If you didn't have that curve, it would just butt against something and this wouldn't move out of the way and you'll just break it again. So that is what I've made. You can see it's not massively complicated. There's just a little sort of valley down the middle of it and a hook on the end, and that does fit very snugly on this piece here. I've not really taken any measurements, I've just basically cut everything to match what's left of this. So if I put this in the vehicle, you can see it will fit like that. Obviously this is not glued in place, so I will have to hold everything. When you push the ram back, that lifts up and then it sort of flips down and hooks in place. So if I hold on to this, you can see the ram is now held, and oops, that's the back section unclipping. Then if I lift this up, it will unhook and the ram shoots forwards. So I am very hopeful that this will work. The thing I've got to do next is essentially glue these two pieces together. As I say, this is not something that will work with plastic weld. All the styrene sheets that I've used, that is all done with plastic weld. This piece here, I'm going to have to super glue these two pieces together, which is why I wanted a lot of surface area, so there's a lot of area for the glue to stick onto. So I'm going to glue that, and then I'll leave it for an hour, and then we can give this a test by putting it all back together and seeing if it works. The glue has now had time to set, and often when fixing toys like this, it's knowing what sort of glue to use and also what forces are in play when you're gluing something. On this one, all of the forces are pulling that way. Essentially, this ram is pulling this piece that way. So the glue that I've used, super glue, if you were to sort of push it and bend it, it would crack, because that's what super glue does. It's a very sort of solid glue. But in this instance, we're not bending this piece of plastic. All of the force is being pulled this way. So having a nice long area where the glue sort of attaches the two surfaces together is exactly what we need. If I was to bend this, you would hear it crack and it wouldn't work and the glue would come off. But because we are pulling, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put this all back together now, so we can drop that in there. We'll get the middle section with a little cockpit area, and we can drop that over the top like that. This just is held in with one of the screws on the bottom, so if I just screw this together by dropping that screw in there, we can then give it a test and make sure everything works. Right, so that is now back in place, so let's try this. I will push this in place, and you can see that now is held quite firmly. If I press this lever, it should fire forward. So that to me looks like it's working properly. So first thing, we'll put this little flip up set of lights in. So that piece just sat there, and then this one was which way around? It goes that way around. That little post sits in the little pocket there, and then we've got two little posts at either end that clip on either side, so that just has to sit like that. That's right, because then when you push it, the lights come up, it goes down. Now we get on to the missing windscreens as well, because actually before we put the top on, we need to put in the rear windscreen. So Kevin, when he sent this to me, very kindly included some reproductions of these windscreens. These come from pjcustomcasting.com. They look really good. So this is the rear windscreen. I'll show you the other ones in a bit when we put the rest of the vehicle together. And that just needs to sit over the back here. And this one, yeah, you do have to put on before you put the top part of the Batmobile back on, because this is all held in place. The front one's clip on, this one is actually inside the vehicle. So let's take the top section, we can drop this over, and actually I think I need to stick the ram out at the front, so let's just do that. So that fits over there, and everything should, I hope, just sort of click back into place, which it does seem to. We've also got the steering wheel, of course, which is here, and that just pops in there, I think. Or do I need to do that beforehand? I think I need to do that beforehand, so let's take that off. So if I just hold that in the right position, which is about there, and then we can drop this down. It's going to be quite awkward to do, but yeah, that's like that. Yeah, that feels like it's in the right position. That's held in place. So now we can flip this over. I'll put all of the screws back in, and then we'll test it again, and then we can sort out the front windscreens. So now I have the two front windscreens. Again, these are from PJ Custom Castings, and these just clip in here. I feel they may need a little bit of sort of fine tuning. They just clip in at 3 places. You've got clips at those points at the back, and then there's one at the front. You sort of push them down and they clip. But I think there's just a few slight errors in the casting, so I might just do a few little modifications and a bit of filing just to make sure these do actually clip in place. You can see why these get lost over the years, because it's such a sort of small area to clip, and I think, you know, kids can just pull them out and ping them out and they get lost. I think it's a slight design error on Kenna's part, but yeah, I'll modify these slightly just so that they clip in a little bit better, but they're pretty close. This is what happens sometimes when you cast things from old toys. There's a slight error in how they come out, so you might just need to do a little bit of modification. So you can see that one has clipped in quite nicely on this back side, but not on this other side here. So yeah, a few little modifications and we'll get those fitted. And there we go, just a few little modifications and they now clip in really nicely. In this instance, I haven't had to replace any of the stickers. There's only a few stickers in this. There's a couple on the dashboard. There's one sort of console in the middle. We've got some jets or sort of lights on the back, and then the bat symbols on the side. But because I had this toy apart, I thought it would be a good opportunity to take images of those stickers and recreate them. So I've taken some high-res photos of all of those stickers and then taken those into Photoshop, tidied them all up and recreated them. And you'll be able to download that sticker file for free from toypolloi.com. So if you have this toy with those stickers missing or damaged, then go to toypolloi.com, download that, print it onto some glossy sticky backed printer paper, cut them out and stick them back on, and it will make your toy look complete. Polloi. And so here we go, this is the Batmobile all complete and working again. The battering ram all works really nicely now, so if I press that lever in the middle, the ram should shoot out, which it does, and then I can push that back in and it locks in place. And that seems like a really sturdy fix. I don't think I'm going to have any issues with that, so happy with that one. The rear sort of grappling thing or sort of grabbing arms worked anyway, so you can see that still works. We've got the little lights at the front. If I push that, those raise up and go back down again. And then of course we have the replacement windscreens. I'll put a link to where those came from in the description of this video. So I do need to say a massive thank you to Kevin from Zonista Studios for sending this over. It's been a fun project, and I don't think I've ever seen one of these in the UK, so it's a completely new toy to me, and I always like working on things like that. And if you haven't checked out Kevin's channel, Zonista Studios, I'll put a link to that in the description as well, so please do go and check that out. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Toy Polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow Toy Polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.